The Disappearance of Room 119. Episode 1. The Vanishing Guest. In December 2006, the Pine Hollow Inn in rural Montana was quiet, too quiet for the holiday season. Most travelers passing through were long-haul truckers or families looking for cheap shelter from the snowstorm that rolled in off the Rockies. The manager, Carol Jenkins, had worked there for 16 years. She'd seen her share of drunks, broken-down tourists, even a fugitive once. But nothing like the man who checked into room 119 that night. He signed the register as Daniel Reese, from Billings, Montana. But there was one problem. There was no Daniel Reese from Billings. Not in any record. Not in any database. The wind that night cut like glass. The kind of cold that makes your teeth ache. Carol remembered the way Daniel Reese entered the lobby. Silent, precise, not a wasted movement. He wore a gray pea coat, no luggage, just a brown leather briefcase that looked 20 years too old for him. "You look like you've been driving a while," Carol said, smiling the practiced smile of a woman who's seen too much. "You could say that," he replied. His voice was low, maybe too even. "Just one night." He paid in cash. Exact change. When Carol asked for ID, he paused, just for a fraction of a second, before sliding over a Montana driver's license. Later, she couldn't remember his face. She remembered his eyes, dark gray, almost colorless, but not the shape of his nose or mouth or anything that would stick. It was as if her brain refused to keep the details. He took the key to room 119 and walked down the hall. That was the last time anyone saw him. The next morning, room 119 was empty. The bed made, the sink dry, the mirror spotless. Everything in its place except for one thing. The key was still on the nightstand. Carol knocked. No answer. She opened the door, nothing. No bag, no clothes, no smell of cologne. Not even a hair in the sink. Just the faint hum of the old air conditioner, running on low. The weirdest part? The security camera feed that covered the hallway showed him walking in, but never out. At 2:14 a.m., the timestamp froze. When it resumed, the hallway was empty. The footage had a 7-minute gap. Local police thought it was a glitch. Small-town systems freeze all the time. But when Officer Mike Pritchard checked the building's maintenance logs, he noticed something strange. The camera had been manually rebooted from the electrical room at exactly 2:14 a.m. And only one person had the keys to that room. Carol Jenkins. "I didn't touch it," she told them. "I was asleep. You can check the logs. You can call my son. I was on the phone with him that night." And she was right. Her phone records backed her up. So, who rebooted the system? When state police couldn't identify Daniel Reese, no fingerprints, no driver's license record, no digital trail, they called in the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit. Special Agent Eleanor Briggs arrived 3 days later. She'd worked on missing persons cases before, but this one was different. "He didn't vanish," she said in her report. "He was erased." The inn's server logs showed a remote login from an IP address traced to Virginia, specifically, to a data facility contracted by the Department of Energy. Why would a government-linked server access a motel's CCTV feed in rural Montana? Eleanor didn't know. But she did know this. Room 119 didn't exist on the original blueprints of the building. The Pine Hollow Inn was built in 1979 by a man named Edwin Monroe, a retired Air Force engineer. He died in 1988, but his son, Jake, still lived in town. When Briggs tracked him down, he said something she'd never forget. "Dad used to joke that room 119 wasn't really a room. Said it was a testing site. Whatever that means." Briggs pressed for details. Jake didn't have many, but he did mention this. Once a year, in the dead of winter, a man in a dark car would pull up to the motel, spend one night in room 119, and disappear before dawn. His father called them the quiet guests. 2 weeks later, as the FBI dismantled the motel's wiring to trace the signal paths, an agent discovered a small metal box hidden behind the wall of room 119. It was connected to a private power line that didn't match the building schematics. Inside the box was a compact reel-to-reel recorder still running. The tape inside contained hours of static. But when they slowed it down, reversed it, and filtered the noise, they heard voices. Transfer complete. Subject logged. Room reset. And then, a man's voice. Clear, calm, familiar. We only test those who choose to disappear. Briggs recognized it immediately. It was the voice of Daniel Reese. The Pine Hollow Inn was demolished in 2007. Officially, the reason was mold and structural instability. Unofficially, Briggs knew it was a cover. The final report was sealed under national security grounds. Carol Jenkins moved away, changed her name, and refused all interviews. To this day, the FBI's missing persons database lists Daniel Reese as, but in 2019, a trucker passing through Idaho stopped at a roadside motel off I-90. He paid in cash, signed the register, and when the clerk checked the book later, she noticed something odd about his name. Daniel Reese. Same handwriting, same gray eyes, and he asked for room 119 in a building that only had 118 rooms.